Alright, so I wanted to talk about DoorDash real quick today because I was reading a Penny Hoarder article, which, if you don't know, Penny Hoarder kind of gives really bad financial advice or just really bad ideas in general. They don't really tell you really much about it. So I want to talk about DoorDash because it said DoorDash was a good way to make some extra money, and that is true. You can make extra money with it. But they made it sound really unrealistic. Well, they gave it unrealistic standards. As far as they said that some people can make $1,000 a week, some people can make like $500-600 a week, some people made a few $100s a day kind of thing, and how you can expect like 10 to 15% tips. And that sounds really good, but it's very unrealistic because you're not going to keep all that money. Because what you are when you work for DoorDash or do things like that is DoorDash, you are not an employee, you are considered a contractor more or less. Just a private contractor or something like that. So that means when they don't withhold taxes for you, and you gotta pay taxes for the money you make. So you have to pay the normal taxes you would as if you had a regular job. You have to actually withhold those yourself and send them in. Since you would be technically an independent, like a self-employed person, you're going to have to pay the self-employment tax, which is 15% tax, on top of the other taxes you will have to pay for that. And the self-employment tax is what your employer would pay. It kind of covers that because when you have a job, you pay Social Security and Medicare tax. But your employer pays half the tax for you. But since you don't have an employer withholding that or also paying off the other part of the taxes for you, the other half, you're going to have to pay the other half in the self-employment tax, which covers the tax that the employer would be paying for you, and you have to withhold the taxes you would be paying, and you have to submit those taxes yourself. So that is something to be aware of. So when you get that $600, you're not going to be able to keep all $600. You have to pay taxes on that. I think once it hits $600 actually is when you're going to have to start paying taxes. So keep that in mind. Another thing too is, out of that money, besides taxes, you're going to have to pay for the gas of the car, which, since you'll be getting paid and you can count that as a business expense, you can make that tax deductible if you keep a track of the miles you go. So if you want to deduct the money for gas off your taxes, keep track of the mileage so you can do that as well. But my point is, there's a few other things that goes into it, and you're not going to be able to keep every single dime you make. And even when people tip, you're not guaranteed to get a tip. You're not guaranteed to get 10 or 15%. Some people tip good, some people don't tip at all. It's just how it is. And then with the money you do make, which I think it said you get like $6 a delivery or something like that. And on one point of the article, it said that the person that they interviewed or something made about 2.5 deliveries per hour. That would be about $15. So let's say about $18 an hour, which isn't bad, but out of that you still got to pay the taxes, you got to pay for gas, you got expenses to go along with DoorDash. So unfortunately, it is a good way to make extra money, but don't think you get to keep every little dime you make from that. So just be aware of that, look more into it, figure out if it is worth your time, and if you're willing to put an effort to withhold the tax, or you don't have to withhold the taxes, just as long as you have enough money to actually submit the money you would be spending on taxes, because you still got to do that. Make sure you have money for gas, make sure you can afford wear and tear on your car, because there is a lot of expenses that goes into delivering, and when you have a car, and just the whole thing of delivering food. So before you start DoorDash, just be aware about the tax part, be aware about the gas, and just all the expenses that you will have to do in order to actually make money with your car and delivering food. So it's not just as simple as get in your car, drop things off, and then you get paid and you get to keep all the money. It sounds like that from the article, but I just want to be sure that if you're considering DoorDash because you need extra money, there's nothing wrong with that, but just know everything that goes into it, and just be careful so you don't have the IRS knocking at your door. And that's all I have to say for today, so why don't you subscribe for more finance advice or business advice, and enjoy the rest of your day.